Hey there, it's me, Maddie. It's round 3 on Flosstube, and Miss Bernadette's gonna probably make a show here in a few minutes. Oh, she's sitting down on the couch. She may just chill for this video. So it's been about 4, maybe 5 weeks since I last filmed, and a lot of that has to do with returning to work. So the 2021-22 school year has officially started, and it's coming back with an absolute bang. It's good. I think it's going to be a good year, but we still have COVID, and so it's making things very unique, and it's just a lot. So my stitching has been not nearly as prolific as it was over the summer. There's been definitely times where or days I should say. Here, I'm gonna rotate a little bit. There, that's better. I get too old to sit on my knees anymore. You hit 30 and you're just like, nope, not doing that. But COVID at school, with schools, has been a lot. And so, in every school year when you start, it's crazy. But I've been coming home and I'm exhausted and so tired. And the idea of stitching sounds really great, but then carrying it out just doesn't always happen. Sometimes I end up accidentally falling asleep sitting up on the couch. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot to share, but I do have some stuff. And I think I've made some positive changes in how I stitch, or tackling stitching, and I think that's great. I hope everybody's doing okay, by the way. I hope everybody is surviving the end of 2021. It is the end. We're nearing the end of 2021. Who would have thunk it? I honestly didn't. You would have asked me this time last year, I wouldn't have any idea what we'd be doing right now. And so I'm thankful that we do have some normalcy back. I wish COVID as a whole would disappear, but I'm happy we have school back. I have a new co-counselor this year, and I miss my old co-counselor. She was fantastic, but I think my new co-counselor is just as fantastic, and I think it's going to make this year a lot better. But she's already having to stay home and quarantine with one of her kiddos who had to quarantine. We have a lot of kids who are quarantining. We have teachers who have had to quarantine already. So I don't know, y'all. What I do know is Flosstube is still here, and thank you all for making suggestions on new Flosstubers for me to check out and watch, and tutorials to see so I know how to do things. When I don't necessarily feel like stitching, I've definitely been watching Flosstube. My screen time has gone up. It gives you that little report if you have an iPhone, like how much time you're actually spending looking at your phone, and I can say 90% of my time is spent either looking at Instagram at cross stitch or dollhouses, or watching Flosstube while I get ready and do other things around the house. Does anybody else do that? Are we addicted? I'm addicted. I need a sports group. So I will show you guys what I have done, even though it's not a lot. I'm gonna start with my dollhouse, because I actually had to force myself to get back into it. Not force myself, I want to start on it. It takes a lot of creative juices to see what you're gonna do with my dollhouse, like how I work through the dollhouse and what I want it to look like. But, so I started small. I'm like, pick the smallest room and go there. So this is the tower room and the base of it right here, and then it'll sit into the tower. Here's the peekaboo window, and then currently I can still lift this guy off, and I started working on the parquet floor. I think it's parquet. It's parquet, right? Anyways, I'm working on the floor, and I could have just done a linear design and just gone across, or up and down, horizontal or vertical, or whatever. I decided I'm gonna kind of create the pattern of it. I was like, you wanna know what? It's a small area. If you don't like it, just pop it all up and put a new floor down. And so this is what we've got. I do have this warped just a little bit. There's 2 popsicle sticks that I put in, and they're warped a little bit, but then I'm like, it fits with an old floor theme. So I'm gonna finish this guy up, get the design all laid in, and then we will stain it with acrylic paint and water and kind of get the look that we want. So I'm loving how that's turning out, and I'm glad I took the plunge and tried something new. Thank you guys for all of you that talked about the dollhouses. And FYI, I don't know where to look on my camera. Like, the lens is right there, and my face is right here, but I feel like I don't know where I'm looking. So if I look like I'm staring off into space, I apologize. It's because I legitimately have no idea where I'm supposed to be looking on my camera. I say, But the flooring, I'm glad I took the plunge and tried this. It's not perfect, but I'm really enjoying doing this. And how I do it, what I was saying. Thank you guys for all the suggestions and comments about the dollhouse and being interested in it. Some of you guys have talked about being interested in starting one or picking one up that you had from your childhood or started way back when and just kind of set aside. Do it, show your pictures. And like, I love it, and I love seeing what people do on it. I have several Facebook groups and Instagram groups that I'm part of, and it's one of the most relaxing things to go through, scroll through, and see what people are doing. If you guys have a Cricut and are actively using that to complete your dollhouse, tell me about it, because I have a Cricut, I have an Air Maker, Cricut Air Explorer. The Maker is the huge one that's really expensive, but I can do stuff from my Explorer. And then I really want to start ceramics, like making little things out of clay and maybe resin. People do resin. Getting crazy with it, but we're gonna start small. We're gonna start with this guy. We're gonna start with the roof. What I'm using right now, I'm actually gonna show you my, it used to be a chip bowl or something. So this is like, it was one of those, it's older than me. My mom had it from like the 70s, you know, back in the day when people did fondue and whatnot. So I got this guy. This is actually what I put my stuff in, because if I lay it down, the dog or the cat are gonna take any tiny bits they can get their hands on. So I'm using the Tacky Glue, the Fast Dry right now. I have a bottle in waiting that hasn't been opened yet. And then we use popsicle sticks. This one's crazy bent. Here's the deal, when you guys use popsicle sticks to make floors, especially if you need it to be precise, double check your popsicle sticks. I accidentally like put one in that was crooked and I wasn't paying attention while I did it. And I'm like, and then you got all your extras, save your extras, so as you never know when you might need it. But that's kind of like my setup. And then the most important tool is this sucker. So you can get one off of Amazon. They're about 15 bucks. And I do have like a miter saw box. I don't have like the miter saw. Those are like what construction guys use, and they're crazy expensive. I don't have that. This is like a miter cutter. Don't know the technical term on that one, but you can change your angles on here. So you can go to like 120 degrees to 60 degrees and you just like rotate it. And it just uses like almost like a specific X-Acto blade kind of type. And you just rotate it and it'll give you your exact angles that you need. For my floor, I do 120 degrees is where it lands me to get the perfect angle to fit into the corners. So geometry, yay. It paid off getting a C in geometry. The next thing I want to do on my dollhouse is the roof. I need to figure out how I want it to look like. So like in old houses, like Victorian homes, the painted ladies, things like that, around that 1900s, turn of the century kind of deal, a lot of times they would have your wall, they would put, I guess, insulation of whatever they were using, paper, a lot of things that were extremely flammable, but they would put it in between the wall, and then they would put shiplap over it. And then how you would get the smooth surface, because they didn't have drywall, they would use, it's like cheesecloth, and they would like stretch it across your walls. And then you would put your fabric up, or your wallpaper up. So when you see old homes and they're decrepit and they're falling in and you have that white stringy stuff coming down and then the boards, I kind of want to figure out a way I can redo that and kind of mimic that a little bit. It's going to take some trial and error to figure out how to make that work. And I don't know if would be good considering the ceiling, the type of ceiling I have in here. If not, I think, and it just struck me, the Little Princess, oh, what is it? Is that what it's called? A Little Princess It was a 90s movie, and it was great, and it had great music, and there was Indian themes in there, so the colors are pretty. But the girl, she had to live up in an attic, and I feel like they had a very similar roof. If you know what I'm talking about, confirm that I'm not crazy making this stuff up. I need to go back and rewatch that and look at this, like the pictures of the scenes, and see what the roofs look like and see if I can mimic that. She lived in an orphanage. Her dad went to World War I. She lived in an orphanage. Her dad got amnesia, but you know, if you know what I'm talking about, say yes. It's actually a story, a written story. I think Frances, what's her name? Frances actually wrote the original book. I haven't read the book or seen the movie since I was like 13 or 14, and it's been a hot minute. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna go back and see if I can find that movie and use it as inspiration. And that was just a lot easier to say than rambling for 20 minutes. So that's where I'm at with my dollhouse. I'm going to work specifically on the attic roof, or the tower roof, and room, and get that one as completed as possible. I think that's how I'm going to tackle the dollhouse, is go room by room and kind of maybe give it like a month or two. Okay, let's be honest. It's going to most likely be, sorry, I'm going to reposition again. It's going to most likely be like a 3-month section per room, if not more, depending on how things go. But Flosstube now, sorry, Flosstube, no more rambling, I promise. So, a frequent flyer, or at least in the last 2 videos, has been my Blackberry house, my Plum Street samplers. I love this guy. I said I was gonna get him done before school started. I did not get him done before school started, and that's okay, because he's kind of become my sanity in the mornings. So a lot of Flosstubers talk about, like, what's her name, Bindi Stitches, does 25/7. She's every day she puts 25 stitches, or has 25 minutes worth of stitching every day. And Country Hollow quilts, she does a morning stitch. Like, she specifically dedicates time. And I've decided, you wanna know what? We're dedicating time. And it's gonna be on this guy. So, let me see. A lot of what I've been doing right now has kind of fallen into the alphabet. That's where I've seen the most progress. Here, let's hold it up and actually give a good picture here. This is where we're at. Most of my time has been in the alphabet, like I said. Is it backwards on the screen? I don't know how to flip this stuff, y'all. I don't know how to flip, whatever. It is what it is. This is my morning stitch. This is, I usually do for about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the morning. I will come in and stitch, and I sit quietly. I try to listen to something positive. I usually, maybe a devotional. Sometimes I sit and just be quiet and stitch. And I've been doing this every day, or most days before work. And I find that the days that I do it, my anxiety is a lot less. It helps me center myself. Plus, I have something done, and I am making a good amount of progress on this guy. He will definitely be done before the end of this year, and I'm gonna make it so by putting the date in, which done. We know that if you are like a stitcher and you put your year in before you are absolutely sure you're gonna be done, that it can sometimes be a jinx. It's not gonna be a jinx. We are getting this sucker done, and we are gonna get him framed, and I'm super excited about that. So currently my morning stitch, and loving it, and it just sits over there. It just sits over there on the my side table, and I sit and drink my coffee, usually my second cup of coffee, and I stitch. I've been waking up at 5 a.m. to make that happen. I probably could sleep in another 40 minutes if I didn't, but it's worth it, people. It's worth it. One thing that I have been working on, and I talked about a little bit in the last video, is my Plum Street samplers. Jane Austen, I'm a gentleman's daughter. This guy, I haven't got a whole lot done in it, but I am glad I touched it. It's a lot of fill-in right now. I'm working on the house, and I was like, well, wind your way over and work on a different portion, because I do get, I do get a little bored by this guy. Not bored. I think it's just the color, like the satisfaction of the color of the stitches right now isn't like there. So like, if you look in the back, I'm not gonna show it. Yeah, I'm not showing anything. Like those colors are, I love them. They're beautiful. They have a lot of neutrals and greens, and then those bright pops of yellows and pinks, and it's great color pattern, like color scheme. But working on the house isn't the most exciting part. So here I am right now, and he probably, honestly, I only probably put about 3 hours worth of work in the last 3 weeks on this guy. Can you see him? It's just the house. I don't even know if that's the right direction going up and down. It is. I always have to double check this when I start stitching. Am I in the right direction? So I'm gonna fill my house in, get him done, and then I think I'll be a lot more inclined to pull this guy out and really tackle him and get into the people and the little designs and motifs. I'm ready for that. So he's gonna stay in the pink project bag as my don't forget about me, pick me up and stitch me project and work on me slowly but surely. So that's where he lives. Another one that I put a lot of work into, or not a lot of work, when I do want to stitch or have wanted to stitch over the last several weeks, this is one that I've really pulled out, and it's my Hocus Pocus guy. So here's the pattern. It's by the Prairie Schooler, Hocus Pocus. I'm working on the owl up in the corner. Oh, hey, Henry. He made it a show. He's been sleeping. It's a fun stitch. The upside about this one, it's on 32 count. Most of my stitches or most of my projects are on 36, and I have to wear my glasses. So 9 times out of 10, if you ever see me, I've got my glasses on. I don't wear them in the video because the ring light thing, it bothers me even just to see it, even though I can see better. I don't know how it would probably drive y'all insane if I actually wore them with the light on. It would drive me insane. But here's where I am with Hocus Pocus. I love this guy. He's so cute. I am all about him. It's a fun stitch. I don't have to, because the stitch is like, it's a 32 count, I don't have to wear my glasses necessarily to stitch on this guy, so it's easier for me to pick him up. I don't have to make sure my lighting's like absolutely perfect to be able to see the stitches. And that's nice sometimes where you just have, like, it's an easier stitch because their setup process is a little less. And I can stitch in more places in my house. I think we all have our favorite stitch spots. So like mine's one end of the couch in the morning on that end. And then on the weekends, I have a chair in my bedroom next to a window, and I'll stitch in there because the natural light comes through the window. And then at night, of course, I stitch in bed, but I have a reading light that clips onto my headboard. I have like a metal wrought iron bed frame, and I clip that sucker on and like angle it down over my stitching, so I can actually see what I'm doing. Because if not, I can't see. Oh, so I actually went to the eye doctor this past summer before school started, so I could get my eyes checked. It's been almost 2 years at this point because of COVID, you know, can't get appointments into anything. And my eyes went from being a negative, which I don't know if it's farsighted, nearsighted, I don't know, I can't remember which is which, but it went from being a negative into the positive. And she said, well, that's a pretty decent, like a shift, it happens. But I'm thinking cross stitch and actually focusing so much and training my eyes so much has switched my prescription on my glasses up, like changed where my eyesight is. I'm having to hide. Bernie's trying to steal stuff. Has anybody else ever had that happen? Or if your eyes switch a lot and you've really, like in the last 2 to 3 years, have like invested in your stitching and really put some time in, it might be because you're stitching. Whether it's good or bad, I don't know. But I'm gonna blame that. Or it could be because I'm in my 30s now. Getting old. I'm gonna blame stitching. I'm not old. You're kinda in the way, babe. Bernie's right there. She's standing. She's like, I have to see what you're doing and be involved. So, oh, my long dog sampler. This one's been sitting in a bag, like I have a sewing or cross stitch bag that I originally got before my patterns grew to an outrageous number. And I put this guy in there and it's sitting next to it, like on the other side of the couch in between a nightstand, and I kind of forgot about it for about a week and a half. And then I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, why did you do that to yourself? But this is actually gonna end up being my, my long dog sampler. This one's Castle in the Air. This one's actually gonna turn into my morning stitch once I finish Blackberry House. Mainly because there's no collar changes. It's all the same thread throughout. And that makes it 10 times easier to stitch, because you can always just, like, once you finish a thread and are done for the day, load up your thread for tomorrow and just sit down and go through it. And it's always the same. Always the same. So I haven't gotten very far compared to where I was, but I'll show you anyways, because I did work on it a couple of days. So it probably got a handful of hours. I don't know. This fabric, like, I see it. If you were here in person, you would see it. It stands out more. But when I try to get it on camera, that's a little bit better. That's more realistic to how I see it. It stands out more. Like, it is subtle. It is what it is. I like it though in person, and I wish you guys could see it in person. But you are gonna become a morning stitch. I think this guy's gonna be the morning stitch. Hocus Pocus is everyday stitch because I love it right now. My Jane Austen one will be, let's give a day to Jane Austen. Thursdays. I feel like Jane Austen and Thursdays go well together. I don't know why, but Jane Austen I think would like Thursdays. So Jane Austen's gonna be Thursday. Long Dog Sampler is going to be a Wednesday and Saturday. And then my last one, oh, and then of course Hocus Pocus is just any day. I think how I'll do it is those have to get touched on those days. We'll do that. They have to get touched on those days, at least for 30 minutes, 25 minutes. And then if I still want to stitch and have that desire, we can pick up whatever tickles my fancy. But this guy is definitely, I'm thinking Mondays for Hawk Run Hollow. So this is where I'm at, and I am changing up. Hey, YouTube, be nice. Bernadette Kinnan, hey. No, ma'am, he doesn't want to play with you right now. Hey. Thank you. Henry, be nice too. I don't have kids, but I have kids. So Hawk Run Hollow, this is what I want for this guy. I'm gonna do him on Mondays. He is very stitch heavy. I have been changing out my threads, so it's a little bit lighter, less browns, more lighter tones in it, so it'll fit better with my house and the gray paint and everything like that I'm rocking right now. I'm in my second cube, or square. So this is gonna be my dude. My goal is to finish the grass in the next 2 weeks, pull them out on Mondays. It's kind of a nice, easy stitch because it is a lot of fill-in. We're gonna rock that guy out. I really want Hawk Run Hollow to get a lot of attention this fall. I feel like it's very much a fall piece. I'm trying to think, was there something else that I think these were the only ones that I'm gonna focus on right now. I'm gonna work on my Log Dog Sampler, finish up Blackberry House and Hawk Run Hollow for the next 2 weeks. And then of course work on the flooring for my dollhouse. And that's kind of where I'm at. I know what it is. It's been hiding, it was hiding. It's actually, so I think I probably did show you or tell you about finishing Earthly Treasures and wanting to turn this one into a pillow. I had intended to actually do it because I had leftover fabric. So I have like 2 fabric pieces in here. They're kind of just neutrally browns, and they're wide enough that they'll fit. So I'm gonna do that. I got it out, I put it together. I have it in my stacks. So this week or next weekend, I'm gonna make the actual pillow and figure out what I'm actually supposed to fill it with. People do walnut shells. There's those bead thingies. I'll see what the recommendations are. I know you guys put a lot of videos in and I've watched them. And I'm gonna see what's most readily available and won't break the bank. And then I really do think I'm gonna go ahead and try to frame the backside, the Kathy Barrick's Good Intentions. I want that one framed and I would like to put it in my office. I have a our offices are really big at work, and I have a table, and it's probably about an extra 2 feet longer than the buffet that's behind me. And I just put my coffee on there. I have a candy bowl for kids. I have like a cornhole game on there that kids like to play with. Okay, in all honesty, the teachers play with it just as much, if not more, than the kids do. It's just kind of holds stuff like coffee cups and stuff. It's just a cute place to put stuff, and I would like to see it framed and put on that table. I think it'd look cute in there, and it's good sentiment for a school, I guess. Being stitched together with good intentions. I think we all have good intentions. We just have to work on the delivery sometimes. So, y'all, I think we're good. I think that's what I've got covered. It's like I said, not a whole lot, but some. Definitely some plans. I am going to definitely invest in my stitching time for just my overall mental health and outlook after getting started this school year, and that's about it. So I hope you guys have had a great couple of weeks, and I hope you continue to have a great couple of weeks, and I'll probably see you in about 2 to 3 weeks. And